Yo, what's up? What's up?
Yeah, I don't like the person that I am when I hurt you.
Yeah.
Cause in those moments I desert you. And I realize I don't deserve you. No, I don't deserve you. But I'm praying on my knees, begging that you won't leave me. But you can do so much better, please believe me. So I won't blame you if you leave me.
Yeah.
Leave me, cause I made a promise on the day we said vows. I swore to love you and to never let you down. I told your father I'd protect you from the pain. I told your mother I would shelter you from rain. You were the only one that I have ever dreamed of. My perfect truth that I've hidden with every lie. If only I was less concerned about our future, I might have noticed you needed me by your side. And after all of those days, you kept it inside. Don't know how I missed every tear that you cried. I love you enough to let you be free, so I can't blame you, baby. It started with me, cause I loved you but left you in moments of need. We broke like a promise, too heavy to keep, and baby, it kills me lately, cause maybe I'm the reason why I don't like the person that I am when I hurt you. Cause in those moments I desert you, and I realize I don't deserve you. No, I don't deserve you, but I'm praying on my knees, begging that you won't leave me. But you can do so much better, please believe me. So I won't blame you if you leave me. Leave me, cause
Yeah, that's my joint, y'all. That's my joint, man. But hey man, happy Friday. Happy Friday. This is the 5th episode on Friday. So a great achievement for me. I can see the struggle of doing something like this on a constant basis. You know what I'm saying? Because you go through your own personal issues and concerns throughout your week and day, and you still have to get up here and do this show, right? So I find it important just to relieve, use music and all types of stuff. But here we go, man. We're gonna get it rocking. Today's show, today's show is about your source. I found through looking at social media that people use all type of sources for guidance. And when I say that, I mean uh people use social media for the sources. They see people that are successful and they go there for advice, right? And it could be life advice, it could be relationship advice, it could be money advice, all this stuff that we do on a constant basis to go to social media for advice. And I just think it's kind of crazy. Um, I have been there before where I had other sources to guide my life, and I decided to work God's plan in 2022, not to work my own, but to work God's plan. And what that has done for me has given me ultimate peace, because I no longer relying on myself and my capabilities, but allow God room for Him to come in and rely on His capabilities, which is so important, uh, especially in relationships. So when you specifically talk about relationships and marriage, right? It's it's a long game to it. It's not going to be perfect. Uh, People look at movies and other sources, and they assume that that is what looks like, right? Loving your spouse looks like when you take her on to dinner all the time, or you take her to vacation all the time, or you rub her feet all the time. And some of these things are good, right, to implement into a normal marriage. But when you look at social media, it will have you twisted on the different things that you think a relationship is supposed to be, especially marriage, bro. Marriage is a hard thing. It's not easy. And love is a hard thing. Love is not easy. Just saying you love someone is not true. Um, and on Wednesday's show, uh, we talked about the differences of that, right? And so unconditional love is not something that you can get uh, outside of the source of God, because He's the only one that really understands what true love is and operated in it on a constant basis. Uh, I use the example of when Jesus was on the cross and um, all the soldiers was nailing him to the cross, and he got up on the cross and he said, "Forgive them, Father, because they know not what they do." Um, and that's what love is, man. He died for their sins, and that's crazy. The people that killed him. But I gave an example to uh, my co-host. I said, "Hey, when you uh, when you love your mother, it doesn't matter what she does or what you have done for her. You don't measure that to anything. You just allow for that love to happen. When you love your mother, you just go straight to her, and you might, if she needs some groceries, you go buy her groceries, you cook her a meal, but you don't have any expectations of her. Um, and you just love her regardless. If she cooks you something, then that's cool. Or if she makes you a sandwich, that's cool. That makes you feel good, but it doesn't make you distraught, right? And when you loving on your brother, and regardless of what he has done and what he's going to do, you're going to still love him regardless. But when it comes down to our spouses, we decide to have these extra expectations and get angry when they're not doing something that we think should be done. And that's where we come wrong, is when we rely on our own expectations um for our relationships. And then social media, the reason why I say your source is wrong is because when you utilize social media for your source for your marriage, um now there's good things out there, but majority of it is junk, right? Because I remember seeing a post. Oh, it was a pretty young lady. She was like, "Hey, if this girl is not giving you what you want, fellas, just get rid of her." Right? Uh, that makes sense if you're single, right? But if you're married and you're listening to it, um, that's gonna damage your relationship. That's not how we should think as married folks, right? We should be striving and working through and loving through these different circumstances that we go through. Um, Proverbs 21 says, "Who he who pursues righteousness and love finds life, prosperity, and honor." Um, like, you have to pursue the righteousness of God. That is what is going to help guide you be closer to the love that you need for your spouse. Stop trying to use um Will and Jada. Yeah, I know that's a terrible example now, but people used to glorify that relationship. Jay-Z and Beyonce. Um, all these different other sources that people try to utilize that's out on the media, and they don't really have the true definition of love. You don't see that. You don't see that in them. They don't give you the example of that. Uh, Michelle Obama had a great meeting with Kelly Rowland, Angie Martinez, and them, and she was really giving out some jewels. I thought uh, that was more definite and sustainable in line with the word of God and what God says love truly is, right? It's not, we got this thing out here where we say is 50-50 relationships are 50-50. That's wrong. I'm just gonna tell you flat out. If both of you are not putting in 100%, it's going to be hard. But God's grace and mercy will, if you're relying on God as the source, God will allow you to have the same grace and mercy that He has up for us. So that love that you need for your spouse in the middle of when she's giving you 25%, are you giving her 25%? Relying on that source of God, it allows you that grace. It gives your spouse that grace because you're knowing and loving on that person unconditionally, truly unconditional. Um, and it's hard to do that when you don't have the right source. It just is. Um, in the Lord's Prayer, it says, "Give us today our daily bread," right? And your daily feeding, what you're feeding yourself daily, is important. And so, uh, a lot of the times we're spending a lot of time on social media, man. We spend a lot of time on social media looking at junk, looking at things that we think it should be like. I remember when I was huge on Kevin Samuels. I don't think he was wrong. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Kevin Samuels was wrong with a lot of things to say. I think his approach was wrong, right? It wasn't a loving approach, but uh what women was expecting and what they, where they were in their life. I mean, if you looked at it from a worldly sense, he wasn't wrong. But you never know what God has for you. Um, God can do all things. You can't if you relied on Kevin Samuels as your source, even as a man, um, or woman, if he was your validation, it would be you would never get to where you need to go. And then as a man, if you took on his thought and saying, "Hey, I'm this, I'm that. I got $100,000 in the bank account. I'm this type of person, and I deserve this." Uh, you would you would live in a idolatry type of lifestyle, and that's not a way to live. That's selfish, to be honest. And you need God as your source because He's going to guide you to the most peaceful way of living. And you can't get there with anything else. Uh, you can't do things without God at all, right? Matthew 13:58 says, "Now he did not do many mighty works there because of their unbelief." Uh when you are an unbeliever and not an unfaithful person, let me say that. When you're unfaithful, it's going to be hard for you to do the impossible. You can't do the impossible unless you are aligned with God, period. So it takes effort in order for you to have that. Uh Proverbs 3:5 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not into your own understanding." Because our understanding, I was telling the co-host the other day, we have a output input type of perspective. What we put out into the world, we expect something back. When we clean up the house and do the dishes, I want some booty. I want to clear up the space for my wife so I can get some booty. We got a output input type of mind frame. So we're not to lean on to our own understanding, but to trust in the Lord. And that's the reason why you use the Bible as your source. You use God as your source because when you have your own expectations, it becomes frustrating when your mate doesn't meet those expectations. In the most frustrating time of my marriage was when I had expectations of my wife. But when I left those expectations alone and I just leaned on the Lord and his understanding, it became a lot more peaceful for me in the way I lived. And so God will supply everything that you need, right? And so you just need to continue to rely on him when you're moving and operating in life. Um, we sometimes let the things that we see uh dictate how we live. And what I mean by that is that when a lot of these people, I mean, you could take the Gabrielle Union situation and you say, hey, I'm making the most money, so I'm able to do this. I'm doing this, so I can do that. Um, I make the most money, so I can go on vacation by myself and leave my spouse alone. Um, you cannot do that. Man shall not live on bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. The reason why that is important is because you don't want to get lost into the money. Let's just say the bread is the money. Once you start relying on the bread, the cash, and the moolah to determine the way you're going to act, then you're going to be lost in what you need to do. But when you decide to start using the source of God, to love on your spouse, then it becomes a lot more sustainable because his love is selfless, it's unconditional. There's no other type of unconditional love that's out here other than his. Uh People try to do it on your own and you can, but it's going to be a fail. You're not going to be successful at it. Trust me. Again, we have an output input type of mind frame. We have an exchange type of mind frame naturally as humans. When we do this, I need this, especially in America. So we need to undo the sources that we're taking in and rely on the new source, not the new source, rely on a new source in 2023, and that is the kingdom of God. And so um one other thing is um God is your ultimate source. God is your ultimate source. And so um you need to be able to rely on him. And we often make our own plans. We often have our own expectation, and then we go look at things that aligns with our expectations. Not saying that everything is wrong, but and I'm just specifically talking uh about relationships right now and marriages because I think a lot of the times we rely on what we think it should be and not on what he wants it to be because we don't know his plans. Um, One of the perfect examples is one day I decided I was going to love my wife totally different than love my cat totally different than what I have been doing previously. And so when I made that decision, I went to the cat store because the cat was pooping all over the place. And when I went to the cat store, I asked the lady, I said, "Hey, why you think this cat is pooping all over the place? We got kitty litter and we clean it every day, blah blah blah." She said, "Well, usually you're supposed to put a lot of kitty litter, like 3/4 of the box it should be kitty litter. And and 3/4 of the box should be kitty litter. And then you gotta clean it every night and day. And then I said, okay, well, we gotta clean it every night and day, and it has to be full. Do we need another kitty litter? She's like, well, if you got several floors, you need one upstairs. So bought another thing of kitty litter, another kitty litter box to put upstairs. I bought another thing of kitty litter to put upstairs, filled it up, and then now we clean every day and night. The kitty litter. My wife's perspective was that my wife's perspective was clean it up. No, my wife's perspective was that we need to have kitty litter in there. Elijah, they need to be watching a movie. My wife's perspective was that she should have a lot of kitty litter in the box. And I was like, I'm not gonna do that because I want to I want it clean. It needs to be clean. Because when we had a lot of kitty litter in the box, we never cleaned it. And so in my perspective was just clean it, and her perspective was have a lot of kitty litter in the box. But I didn't want to because of course we wouldn't clean it every day. We would leave it there for 3, 4, or 5 days. And anyway, so when we combined both of them, pretty much is what happened, right? She had because I was told from the kitty lady put a lot of kitty litter in the box, and then also to clean it day and night. So both of us is right, and uh, I think about that, and really, I just think about the two different perspectives or two different thought processes. But I think about where God wants you to align. You never know what that looks like until you do um, what God tells you to do. So, uh, one of the things was I was working on love, and I was like, Kitty is hard to love because I don't like the kitty, and I have never been good to the kitty. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna love on this kitty. And so me going to that store and getting that understanding also made me realize the benefit of the two different thought processes. And if we just combine our thought processes together, it would be the ultimate benefit for the people around us. And so I didn't lose what I thought, which is that it needed to be clean all the time. And she didn't lose what she thought because she said it needed to be a lot of kitty litter. We just needed to join our thoughts together. And now our kitty never shitted on the ground ever again. Since we had it. I think it's been like how long, baby? 2 weeks? Oh, it's like yeah, it was like a month. So um but that's what it is. So um there are many plans in a man's heart. Nevertheless, the Lord's counsel that it's the Lord's counsel that will stand. And so when you rely on him as the source, he will it will stand at the end. And so I thought it was just awesome that he was the source of the peace for the kitty. Now, one of the other things that I learned from the cat and loving the cat, um, that day I came home with all this stuff for the cat, like big toy and extra kitty litter. The cat was like, and I was loving on it, right? So I would let it sit by me and cuddle, and I never have let the cat do that. And so, but the cat wanted to. But I noticed the next day, very next day, that cat went to sleep and woke up and then forgot all about what I did the day before. It remembered what I have done for the last 10 years or so. It's been in our life. Yeah, it's been 10 years. Probably exactly. Uh, and I was thinking about when we're not specifically women, but just people who have relationship trauma and the issues of the past still affecting the way they interact with a person in the present, and that it takes work, right? It takes time. That moment of compassion, that moment of love I showed her by giving giving her these extra kitty litter and stuff doesn't mean anything. It doesn't take away of a learned discipline that she learned from me uh by really just abusing her at times. But being unloving. And so that's just a crazy part. Still to this day, if I walk past the cat or something, sh- she acts as if I don't love her. And that that's you said what? Whatever the cat is. I don't know. But that's that, man. So happy Friday to you all. Uh I just wanted to get the show done, which I did, and I didn't do it greatly because my kids went crazy. Not like I ever did a show if with my kids. I have their mother's home, so they like to be a little extra. So, um, but love you guys. Hope you have a happy Friday. Remember, God is your source for love. God is your source for everything and your peace. So don't rely on social media. Get off of social media, man. Spend some time with Him. Just spend some time in silence. God will tell you exactly what you need to hear. I know He has blessed me in my life, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna share those blessings soon. But um, that's that, man. So peace and love. I love you guys. Have a good Friday, good rest of the week. Good 2023. Also, we're doing 31 days of discipline right now in January. So the disciplines are, and I don't expect people to do all five. This is my lifestyle. I've been living this way for uh a little bit over a year now. But now um I just want to live this way every day and be disciplined at it. So the five disciplines that we're trying to attack is waking up in prayer, right? So don't get off the bed without praying. I just could just be simply thanking him. Doing a daily devotional, exercising, doing an activity at least 30 minutes. Then intermittent fasting, which is just giving yourself a time frame of eating. And then also spiritual fasting, taking away secular stuff. But if that's hard for you altogether, just take away one at a time. Just challenge yourself. So, or if you just can do one a day, people are at different levels and different strengths, and you got to start somewhere. So that's it, man. Peace and love. Stay loyal and obedient.